What's up everyone, Dr. Jordan here again. Today I'm gonna show you the 5 workouts that are non-negotiables for me on my shoulder workout. That just means every time I'm gonna do shoulders, I'm gonna do some variation of these movements. Target every area of the shoulder and give me a good pump. As always, I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks to keep you feeling good. These workouts aren't gonna be anything like special. I'm not in here making up workouts, but I'm gonna show you the keys as to why I like to add them into my routines and give you ways that you can do those movements to make sure that you're staying pain-free during your workouts. As always, I'm gonna start with my shoulder warm-up routine. I've walked you guys through this multiple times before. I like to start with these banded external rotations, just a good way to get the rotator cuff muscles kind of fired up. From there, I'll go into banded diagonal pulls, doing like 10 reps of each movement, just making sure to work that shoulder stability, getting the muscles that stabilize and prime my shoulders for these movements ready so I can get through this workout pain-free. After I do both of those two, I'm gonna do some 90-degree shoulder raises. Same thing, just making sure we're targeting every area of that shoulder, trying to get it ready for this workout. The first big change I made for my shoulder workouts was anytime I did seated shoulder press with dumbbells, I always thought that I was supposed to use this little bench here. Like I thought that this was the shoulder press bench. But I always felt like unstable when I did it. And I would always not always, but sometimes afterwards I would get like neck pain and discomfort and just wouldn't feel comfortable doing shoulder workouts. And I felt like my shoulder press was starting to plateau a little bit. And then I switched to using a normal bench, putting it at this 60-degree angle here. And I noticed that it's way more comfortable. I rarely end up with like neck pain or shoulder discomfort afterwards. And I feel much more stable and powerful. So if you've been stuck on this bench like I was for a long period of time and you're feeling like you need to switch it up, do it. It'll make a big difference for you in your shoulder press. The most common complaint I hear from patients when doing seated dumbbell shoulder press is AC joint pain. So pain or discomfort right over the top of the shoulder in this spot here. If that's something that you've been dealing with, it could come down to a form issue. A lot of times, if you're doing shoulder press with your elbows flared out like this, straight at like a 180-degree angle technically, and going straight up from there, it's gonna put a lot of the weight and tension on your AC joint and not as much where we want it to be. We're doing this exercise to get a good stretch and pump in our anterior delts. So you wanna move the weights to the front of your shoulders to help out with that. So what I like to do is rather than being straight out to the side here, bring the weights in front of you here at like a 45-degree angle and press from there. So shoulder press was the first non-negotiable for me. That's a workout I'm always gonna do, target those anterior delts. The second exercise is gonna be lateral raises, targeting the lateral deltoid. With this movement, I like to superset normal lateral raises with partials just to get a full burnout with it. I usually do 3 sets of like 10 to 12 reps for both movements. Just a great way to increase that pump in the lateral shoulders. If you want your shoulders to pop, hit those lateral raises. All right. So the second non-negotiable workout for me is gonna be lateral raises to target the lateral deltoid. We're trying to hit every area of the shoulder with this workout routine. We already got the anterior delt with the shoulder press. Now we're gonna get the lateral portion with these lateral raises. The way I like to do lateral raises is I'll do 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps and superset it with partials. So I'll do full range of motion for 10 to 12 reps and then do about 50% of that range of motion to burn out at the end of each set. So I'll show you what it looks like. So my pro tip for lateral raises is to do them in scaption. You might be wondering what that means. What scaption is, it's the angle that your shoulder is gonna be in while you're doing the exercise. So rather than when you're doing lateral raises just coming straight up and down to the side like this, we wanna be anywhere between 30 to 45 degrees with our arms. This is gonna line us up in the scapular plane, so it's gonna allow for better scapular mobility to assist us with this workout, and it's also gonna put your lateral deltoid in a better position to do this exercise. So again, rather than coming straight up and down like this from the side, we're gonna come in front of ourselves a little bit at a 30 to 45 degree angle and then lift from there. So So if you're someone who's been having trouble feeling lateral raises in your deltoid, you're feeling it more in your trap, or maybe you're getting a pinch in your AC joint when you're doing this exercise, I want you to switch from doing it straight out to the side and moving into scaption and see if that helps to fix your issue. So the anterior lateral portion of the delts have been hit so far. Next up, we got the rear delt. I like to do seated rear delt raises to target my rear delts. Just a great way to get a pump in there. Rear delts are an important muscle to hit to get that fullness and roundness within your shoulders. I'll give you some tips and tricks and things that I like to do to make sure I'm getting the most out of this exercise. A lot of people can have trouble like feeling their rear delts or traps and other muscles will start to take over. So I'll show you the little things that I do to help me get the most out of this exercise. So, the things that I like to think about when doing rear delt raises, I like to think about lifting up with my pinkies at the end of the movement. It might sound weird now, but it just helps me to get a better squeeze in my rear delts. Along with that, I like to try to keep my elbows straight and almost like not quite a 45-degree angle, but I'm also not straight side to side when I'm doing the movement. What I mean by turning my pinkies up,
hold your pinky up like this. Now that's fancy.
When I get to the top of the range of motion, I like to imagine that I'm lifting the end of this weight up with my pinkies to help me reinforce that squeeze into my rear delt, as well as making sure I just keep a slight bend in my elbows. My arms aren't gonna be completely locked out, but they're also not gonna be bent by my side like this at 90 degrees. Just a slight bend in the elbows and squeezing by lifting up through those pinkies at the top of the range of motion. Oh, okay. It's so weird getting to the point where it feels hard to pick up 10 pounds. Like, it just doesn't seem like it should ever be an issue. Fourth and fifth non-negotiable movements for me, we're gonna double up on the anterior delt. So I'm gonna do a machine shoulder press with a neutral grip and some neutral grip front raises as well. I just like to really hit the anterior delts to kind of give me that pump, pop, and fullness that I'm looking for on my shoulders. Shoulder press is just a fun movement for me, so I like to do it in as many variations as I can. So I'm gonna do about 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps here, and then go over, pick up a dumbbell, and do alternating neutral grip front raises to also hit those anterior delts. And that's gonna be the end of my 5 non-negotiable movements for shoulder day. So those are my 5 non-negotiable workouts for every shoulder day. Shoulder press, lateral raises, rear delt raises, and then double up on the anterior delts by doing machine shoulder press and some neutral grip front raises. Gave you tips and tricks on how to do each movement to get the most out of it and to keep your body pain-free. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Reach out to me however you want to, and I'm here to help.